Well, as you know, the start of November has begun. I'm sure right about now everybody already making their Thanksgiving plans, like for example, buying their turkeys before Thanksgiving, which I'm going to be tending to do as well. But however, I say we start November with a very interesting episode. Now, as you know, it is Wednesday. We do have AEW Dynamite. We're going to have a fantastic show for that. But we also, from the very beginning, we are going to be reviewing two shows straight out of Japan. The first one is Baka Gaijin and Friends for Volume 9, another self produced show by none other than Chris Brookes. And then, of course, we have more on New Japan with the Super Junior Tag League. A lot of interesting developments are taking place, but it's going to be very interesting how far they're going to go because we're not that far close to the end of the Super Junior Tag League. And of course, we got some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that either been signed or departing from the promotions, injured wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everybody, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is where we do a lot of daily reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where wrestling is not as big, but it is growing. We also do some discussion videos, talk on various topics such as the wrestlers, factions, storylines, whatever we can get our hands on, and we do some more news updates and everything else cool here. And of course, if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on the subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff here. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review, which is Baka Gaijin and Friends with Volume 9, another self-produced show. Now, this show was in fact filmed on Halloween night. I was unable to do this on Tuesday due to the fact that it was pre-taped. But however, it was a lot of fun. We had 4 matches on this particular one, so let's get started with them. Our first match, we have Ram Kaicho coming up. Her tag partner is, well, it's Chris Brookes, but he calls himself Chris Kaicho, which is kind of funny. But however, their opponents are none other than Mad Dr. Yuiki, portrayed by none other than Takayuki Ueki, and he has Nurse Gores, portrayed by none other than the Thailand doctor, Dr. Gore. I thought it was a fun match, because of course, Dr. Gore, he dresses up like a nurse, unless if you don't look under the skirt. But yes, however, there was a very interesting moment. I normally would see this with Ram Kaicho. She always throws out the ectoplasma into the faces of her opponents, but this time it was Chris who did it, and it was a pin. Later, of course, Ram Kaicho applied a lariat onto Mad Doctor Yuiki to pick up the win, just like that. So it was over. However, I don't think Ram Kaicho is very adamant that fist bump him, but she did it anyway because, they won the match. Our next match, we have Masahiro Takanashi taking on the former KOD openweight champion and former sumo wrestler Kasusada what was it? Iguchi. Now, yes, if you guys know this, he used to be a sumo wrestler. He even wore his sumo gear for this. I thought, oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun. But however, I do view Iguchi as a powerhouse in the mix. But he was able to pick up a very good one when he applied a Canadian backbreaker to finish Masa up, and it was over right from there. Now our next match, let's call this a Wasabi Death Match. Now, those who don't know what the hell is a Wasabi Death Match, let me explain it. Now, if you guys are spice of Japanese foodies, if you know all your Japanese food, then you know what I'm talking about. Those who don't know, let me explain. Wasabi is one of the most spiciest food, things. Kind of like salsa, all and chile and all that other stuff. It is one of the most spiciest stuff that will burn your mouth. Well, not completely, but it will. So the idea of this type of match, it's simple. If you get a 2 count, you have to pick one of these kind of cupcakes type of food. But here's the rub. One of them contains the wasabi. So, however, if you pick the one with the wasabi, the match is over. Now, I've only witnessed this in Choco Pro maybe on 3 or 4 times. However, the opponents for this particular match is none other than Hagane Shino and Antonio Honda. So, basically, now the first time Hagane was the first to get got pinned, and then nothing happened. Antonio Honda the same thing with the second fall. However, in the third, Antonio Honda picked the one with the wasabi, and he ran like that he needed the go to take a dump. But that's how it went. But Hagane Shino picked up the win. Now our next match we have Cheiko, who's portrayed by none other than Chiko Shikawa, take on Mecha Mao, or as you know as Mao. However, what I like about the Mecha Mao is Dr. Yuiki, the Mad Doctor Yuiki picked up the DNA from Mao and turned into a mecha machine, and I thought it was a pretty good storyline. However, Mecha Mao was intending to destroy himself because he was starting to grow conscience, but of course Cheiko refused to let him destroy himself. But in the process, he did, and then he pinned Cheiko to pick up the win. I thought it was a pretty good fun show, not gonna lie. I do enjoy the Baka Gaijin Friends shows every single time. You guys should see them. They're free to watch on YouTube, so you should check them out. And I think that's pretty much it for this. Let's move on with New Japan. Okay, day 8 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Super Junior Tag League. So right now, things have now becoming very interesting. Um, I have seen now 5 teams are reaching to the top. Basically, they could be the ones that will have to finish off who will be advancing to the end. Now let's get started to all the way. We're only going to focus on the 5 matches involving Super Junior Tag League, so bear with me. Our first match, we had the DKC and Taguchi. They take on none other than the Bullet Club War Dogs, consistent of course Connors and Maloney. Now, not much of a bigger deal in this type of match because the War Dogs are like the team that most likely could win, but however, they are the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Most likely, if you pick up a win against them, they could get a title shot in their back pocket, even if they don't win the Super Junior Tag League. But unfortunately, the Bullet Club War Dogs applied the full clip onto, I believe, the DKC to pick up the win. They walk away with 10 points. So right now, basically, they are, let's see, with 5 wins and 3 losses. As for DKC and Taguchi, well, they only have 2 wins with 4 points, so that makes it, I think 6 losses on that one, particularly. Yes, but yeah. Now, moving on. We had the TMDK, Kosa Fujita and Robbie Eagles. They take on LIJ's Titan and Bushi, and of course, Naito was right there too. Recently, Naito had decided to enjoy the match. Now, Just to keep in mind, he does not interfere. He just sits in his corner, mind his own dang business. But of course, Titan and Bushi have been one hell of a tag team. Have been very, very stable the entire time. So I thought it was a pretty good thing to see. But however, it was La Ángel Inmortal by Titan to finish off Vegeta, giving them the win. However, they did walk away with a total of 10 points with 5 wins and 3 losses, I believe. And also, as for TMDK, well, 6 points. Well, I barely think that they are not going to make it to the finals, but yes. So right now they're tied with the War Dogs. Next match, we have Masushi and Sho. They take on the Jet Setters. Nothing too big on this one, but however, Jet Setters have always been one of the most impressive teams. Masushi and Yo, well, they're like a makeshift now because, as you know, Yo normally would team with Leo recently, but Leo is out for a while. But however, this match ended with an impressive spike DDT by none other than Kevin Knight onto who was it? Masushi? Yeah, Musashi. And that picked up a good win. So they ended up with 10 points. And as for Musashi and Yo, 6 points as well. So basically, we have 3 teams tying. Our next match, we have, of course, just 5 guys, Taka Michinoku and Doiki taking on Master Wato and, of course, El Desperado. Now, this was a very intense match. True, if you guys have noticed, both Taka, Doiki, and El Desperado were once members of what was once Suzuki-gun. It's kind of interesting to see that now Despi is on the opposite corner. Now, he never did like Doiki because in the very beginning, Doiki was the one who couldn't pick up a win. He called him a piece of shit. So that's the thing. But however, I know Doiki hasn't forgotten the humiliation he suffered thanks to El Desperado. But, of course, Wato and Desperado, who don't like each other, but they know they have to pick up good wins. But it was Wato who picked up a very strong submission onto Taka Michinoku to pick up the win. Now, our next match, our main event. Oh, no, let me go back. Wato and Desperado, they walk away with 12 points. So right now, currently, they're in the lead. We do have, of course, Jet Setters, LIJ, and War Dogs with 10 points. So right now, there's a 3-way tie. Now, our next is our main event. We have the House of Torture, of course. Kanemaru and Sho taking on Catch 22, Francesco Akira, and TJP. Now, of course, whenever we see the House of Torture, they try to do things. When the referee is out, that's when all help comes out. We see freaking Evil, Dick Togo, and Yujiro try to give the helping hand. But of course, Kashitu did try to take on matters in their own hands as much as possible. But however, there was a misfired by Kanemaru onto Sho, when of course they applied the inside cradle onto Sho by TJP to pick up the win. But however, Sho and Kanemaru viciously attacked Catch 22 and beat them laying. But Sho gave them a warning, telling them that Catch 22 is dead, that they need to stay down because they're nothing but maggots. Now, the only reason they're saying this is because House of Torture are determined to win this one at any cost. They're not going to allow this. But here's the interesting factor of this whole thing. Both House of Torture and Catch 22 are currently have 10 points. So there's 5 teams in 10 points. Of course, House of Torture, Catch 22, Jet Setters, War Dogs, and of course LIJ. How will this break? I don't know. But it seems like Wato and Despi are like the fan favorites in this particular tournament. But we'll see what happens then in the upcoming matches taking place for them. So I think that's pretty much it with New Japan. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Now, it opened up with, of course, Ren Epicat doing an interview with MJF, who is in a good mood knowing that Adam Cole finally escaped from Roderick Strong, got his surgery. However, he did get a video call from Adam Cole, of course, telling him that he has to reclaim what is, even though he wished he was there to help him. But, of course, even though he knew that MJF may not like it, but he gave him his opinion, saying that he has no other choice but to accept the offer from Samoa Joe. Even though MJF was a bit adamant about it, but he did say he had a list of wrestlers that he had in mind. However, when that happened, Roderick Strong shows up screaming at him. Of course, Adam Cole did not want to hear it because it was driving him crazy. But the obvious question does tell, will he get partners? Well, we're going to be doing throughout this entire review right here. Now, our opening match, we have the AEW International Championship on the line. As you know, a week ago, Claudio Castagnoli did the unthinkable. He pinned Orange Cassidy, giving him the right and deserving for the title shot, and that's exactly what happened. However, Orange Cassidy had to dig a lot more deeper because he knows that this is not the same kind of fighter he normally would face like Moxley. But however, Claudio would have done everything in his power to put every stop into him. However, of course, Wheeler Yuta was there to get things problems, but the referee. But of course, Hook showed up to give Orange Cassidy a helping hand, but the referee kicked out both, throughout both Yuta and Hook out of the ringside. But of course, the dispute between them continued in the back. Hook put his hands on the officials, so that was going on. But however, it was Orange Cassidy who picked up a good win when he applied the Hurricanrana on Claudio, giving him the win. But however, Jon Moxley shows up, who has unfinished business towards Orange Cassidy. Now, keep in mind, Orange Cassidy lost the international title to Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley, who, as you know, was supposed to face Rey Fenix to reclaim the title, wasn't there because he was not. But however, there's a lot of things that have been going on, so they're telling a really interesting story between them. Now, as I mentioned before, MJF needs to find 3 tag partners. He first went to look for Kenny Omega, but Jericho kind of answered the door, and he shoved it right in his face. And then out of nowhere, while he was leaving, he was viciously, well, not attacked, but basically confronted and pinned through the wall by none other than his former bodyguard and friend Wardlow. Now, Wardlow is out of his way to take everything from him, so he knows that he's coming. However, throughout the entirety, as you know, MJF looking for tag partners, the Acclaim are determining to volunteer themselves, even if MJF is not going to happen. And of course, we've been hearing, "Damn it, Max!" I thought it was hilarious to see that, but yes. Now, our next match, we have the ROH World 6-Man Tag Team titles. The former champions, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony, Teo Leona and Bishop Khan gets a rematch clause that was in fact brought back by Prince Nana to take on the Elite. Now, keep in mind, Hangman still has some unfinished business towards Swerve. Swerve crossed the line a week ago by invading his home. But of course, this was going to become personal between both sides. Swerve even showed up, and Hangman decided to chase him out, and they went into the back. So all hell broke loose. But however, it led to the numbers game in the ring between both the Bucks and Mogul Embassy. But unfortunately, Matt ended up on the open the gates by the Gates of Agony to pick up the win. So a lot of things have gone wrong right here. But however, of course, the story is that Hangman Page will not forget that a man broke into his own home just because he wants his spot. So we'll see where that leads us there. Now, as I mentioned, of course, MJF continues looking for partners, so he was outside of Samoa Joe's locker, so he's like, Then he sees Darby, and then he decided to have a little fun by putting some stuff, and once again, here comes the Acclaim. I mean, it's kind of interesting, like, how the Acclaim, they're like, "Hey, pick us, pick us, pick us." So I thought it was hilarious how that was going to go. Now, in the ring, Tony Schiavone gets into the talk with none other than the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland. Of course, he wanted to discuss about everything that's happened with Christian Cage, you know, all this and that. But Cage shows up, who feels that, you know, that he needs to do the right thing and walk away. That he needs not to get involved with Sting or Darby Allin. But he sent Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne to deal with him. But of course, Darby and Sting showed up to give a helping hand. And because of that, Christian Cage got speared by Adam Copeland, and now Adam Copeland has officially exerted himself as their tag partner at Full Gear, which is the one thing that Christian Cage did not want, but I'm sure. But I think Adam Copeland must have realized now that maybe Sting was right, because Sting has learned a lot from the one person that, they've been rivals throughout their entire careers, was of course the Nature Boy. So basically, he learned from him, and I'm sure Adam will learn a lot from him before Sting leaves. So we'll see what happens till then. Now, an interesting news that was announced by both Nigel McGuinness and, of course, the AEW founder and CEO, Tony Khan. As you know, with the success of what happened in All In Wembley Stadium this year, they just announced that they are returning back to Wembley Stadium in August 25th of 2024. However, they want to throw in do a pre-sale tickets before that. So basically, they want these tickets to be sold as possible before we get to that. And they gave the instructions. I think that's kind of interesting to hear. I'm sure that's something that they thought about since the success of that. I know there's been a lot of controversy over the attendance, but someone needs to shut the F up, because I think there's still some people who are in disbelief that AEW had that amount of audience. But yes. Now, our next match, we have Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, and Cool Hand Angelo Parker, along with Jake Hager, to take on Chris Jericho and Omega. So of course there was going to be moments like this, but however, Matt Menard tried to pass a bat onto Parker, but however, Parker was a bit not sure, but instead he ended up with the Judas effect by Chris Jericho to pick up the win. However, throughout the entire match, Don Callis and his family were right there watching, but of course, once the match was over, Don Callis made it perfect clear how they're going to end this, that this is going to be a street fight. But Kenny made it clear to him, this was never about winning or losing. This is about you guys trying to hurt us. That's always been your game. So, however, there's going to be so they're willing to accept the street fight. So, of course, Kenny mentioned that he's going to bring in Kota Ibushi. But, however, apparently there's going to be a 4-on-3. But Jericho gave saying that he has someone bigger than Hobbs. But however, Chris Jericho said, I'm not talking about a normal guy, but Hobbs, he isn't a giant. So they had no clue what he meant by that, but everybody did knew who he was talking about, and it's none other than Paul White, better known as The Big Show, or No More BS. So I thought it was very interesting. Of course, Kyle Fletcher got knocked the F out by Paul White. So I think right now, Don Callis needs to rethink their strategy on this one. Now, during an interview with Omega and Jericho, it seems like they're ready to do this. But of course, the Bucks are not happy with the result. But however, they're a little worried about the fact that Chris Jericho was there. So they're trying to reason with them about the whole thing. But we'll see what happens till then. Our next match is the AEW Women's World Title. We have Willow Nightingale and Hikaru Shida challenging on. I have to say Shida has been trying to be more of herself now. As you know, she never had the same kind of run that she deserved due to the pandemic, but it was a pretty good match. However, it was the Katana that sealed the deal to allow her to retain the title. However, once the match was over and Willow got the respect from Hikaru Shida, once again Toni Storm gets involved, try to steal the spotlight, but unfortunately Hikaru Shida got her payback. But as soon as the lights went out, Willow Nightingale was in the ring. It appears that Julia Hart tried to, I don't know if she's trying to mist Willow Nightingale, but here comes Sky Blue. Sky Blue seems like she was about to turn on Willow until Blue spit blue mist into Julia Hart. So I'm going to say there's going to be a bit of rivalry between them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So yes. Now, before anything else, MJF will still continue to look at some partners. The Acclaim are determining that they want to be their tag his tag partners. But there was one more team that he kind of, I'm not sure if there was, but of course, it's the Dickwads. I'm talking about Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh along with Sanjay Dutt and Carrot. So basically, it's like MJF had to think this through. But yeah. But our last interview with Renee Paquette, she was interrupted with Roderick Strong and Knight once they calling MJF all this, calling Adam Cole about MJF and all this and other stuff. But of course, Adam Cole is not listening. So that now our next match we have is our main event is BC Gold versus the Acclaim and MJF. Now keep in mind, if MJF wins this match, he gets the Triple B back. But he will give the match to Jay White at Full Gear. But of course, the Bullet Club was intending to do everything, strategize every way to ensure this win, and that's exactly what they did. MJF applied the kangaroo kick, but apparently he ended up on the wrong side of the Blade Runner, and that was it. But however, Jay White intending to take out MJF, but Max Caster took a bullet for him, and I think MJF was like a bit of shock that he did that, you know. And of course, Jay White, who still has the Triple B, walks away with it. But however, I think MJF is starting to see that maybe there are people who are loyal to him, to show that they can be loyal to him no matter what kind of scumbag he can be. And of course, he applied the scissors. So we will see what happens in Full Gear. So there's going to be a lot of things taking place here and now. So I think that's pretty much it with every review we'd have. So let's move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, first things first, we want to give a congratulations on the engagement of Zachary Wentz and Gigi Dolin. Now, if you guys been aware of what's been going on, good for you. You're keeping up. Those who haven't, let me explain. Yes, Zachary Wentz and Gigi Dolin are in fact engaged. Now, if you guys remember, Zachary Wentz was let go from WWE due to the allegations of domestic abuse from his now ex-wife. You may know her, Kimberly. Of course, it was already fulfilled that whole was a lie. That kind of ruined Zachary Wentz's chances. You may remember Gigi Dolin. She was once married to Darby Allin, but they remained to be good friends. There was no animosity between them. So they even met each other while, of course, Zach was still with the company, with WWE, and it's a good thing. So they got engaged on a cruise ship with Disney. So congratulations, guys. We also want to give a happy birthday to Pro Wrestling Noah's wrestler, Yoshinari Ogawa, who turned 57. Now, Ogawa, as you know, has a very lengthy career. He's been, hold on, let me pull up the accomplishments this dude had throughout the entire time. Yes, here it is. Ogawa has been one-time GHC heavyweight champion, two-time heavyweight tag team champion, one-time junior heavyweight tag team champion, 9-time junior heavyweight tag team champion, and of course the 2019 Global Junior Tag League winner. So yes, that's a lot of career for this guy that he's been in. So happy birthday, Ogawa. Now, moving on. Now, once again, Stardom, I don't know what is going on with them, but this was reported by Tokyo Sports. Koguma has announced that she will have to withdraw from Tag League due to concerns of an injury. It's not so severe, but it's just a precaution because of that. We already seen that already with many wrestlers. I mean, we had that with Tami Ishida, Azumi, many others. So there's been a lot of wrestlers in Stardom who have been injured. Tam Nakano is one of them, who has possibly a neck problem, but we don't know what's going to happen. We haven't seen her since then, since the last pay-per-view that took place not too long ago. But yes, Now, more with Tokyo Sports. As you know, our current high-speed champion, Mei Seira, apparently she's going to inherit a legendary star that will be passed on to her by her mentor, the Marvelous founder, what's her name? Shikusa Nagayo. And she said that she wants to change high speed in a new different pace. So that's going to be interesting to see her. Now, Oregon Promotion Prestige Wrestling has announced for Roseland 7 that will take place on January 5th in 2024. So plans have been made. It will be in Portland, Oregon at the Roseland Theater. So no announcements who will be involved or who will be booked, but we will get more of that when they start announcing it. I'll be putting them on the news updates as soon as possible when they announce. Now, Bay Area promotion, West Coast Pro, has announced for their Monster event. They'll take place next month on the 3rd of December in LA. They announced the current women's champion and, of course, the ace of Marvelous, Takumi Iroha, will be participating in that show, so she'll be making her return. Now, British promotion, all female most specifically, Eve has announced for the Friday night All Right for the Friday event. They'll take place this weekend. They announced that they're going to have Konami be involved in this match. That's going to be interesting. So Konami will be heading to the UK. I'm very excited to hear from that. So, yes. So if you're a big Konami fan, then you guys know what I'm talking about. Now, finally, All Japan has announced for this weekend in the Sapporo show on the 5th of November. It's now been official. The Triple Crown Championship will be defended. Yuma Oyagi will defend his belt against Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, if you guys remember, Nakajima just recently is done with his contract expired with Pro Wrestling Noah in September, but he did 2 more shows with them this month of October. However, the obvious question to tell, where was he going to go? Looks like he made a very interesting pick. What's going to be All Japan Pro Wrestling? I will be doing a discussion video about All Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, some of you may not have heard about them or know about their success or anything. But however, on a note here, the current champion, Yuma Aogi, said this: if I win, I want Nakajima to team up with Kento Miyahara. That's a very interesting thing what he wants. But knowing Nakajima, I'm sure he's not going to like that. But we'll see what happens at Sapporo. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. As you know, Thursday is taking place. Not only will be covering MLW, well, let's hope they do have an MLW Fusion show. We also got Impact and Ring of Honor. But also just recently, just now, I discovered there is going to be another Super Junior Tag League show by New Japan. We're going to see how far these guys advance. If there's anything else, I'll see what happens till then. If there's any... if I want to add in another review for everybody before that. But a friendly reminder, if you guys have me follow my podcast, I just recently did another episode on my podcast. I haven't done one in 2 weeks due to some circumstances that were beyond my control in my personal life. If you guys are interested in checking out my podcast, you guys should go to Spotify and find me. It's a DWZ podcast with J-Rod. You can find me on there. So the topics for this particular episode features, of course, we already knew about this one, the Tuesday Night War that recently had with AEW and NXT. Who else? Sting's retirement, Moondom, and a few other things are taking place. There's been a lot of topics that I put on this one, so you guys should check it out. I will, like I said before, I'll be doing a discussion video talking about the history in All Japan, explaining why All Japan Pro Wrestling is not as successful as it is now, what we've seen with Noah and New Japan. Well, there's a lot of a story involving of that one that dates back a whole lot, but we'll get to that. But for right now, as I said before, we do have New Japan with Super Junior Tag League, Day 9. Hopefully we do get MLW, Ring of Honor, and of course Impact Wrestling. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.